My name is Semler. I grew up in Vermont and have been living in Vermont and New England and out west and internationally for the last 8 years. Well, I went to Northeastern University in Boston for my freshman year and then transferred to Union College in Schenectady, New York, and I studied psychology and sociology, some environmental science, and I graduated in 2003. And after I graduated, throughout college I had been working at an adventure school on Nantucket, Massachusetts, working with 5 to 10-year-olds, sort of introducing them to that area and the ecosystems that are on Nantucket. And then after that I got involved in after-school programs as well as wilderness therapy, which is what I've been doing for the past 3 years. Part of the reason that I transferred to Union was that I also had the opportunity to play ice hockey there, which I did for my last 3 years of college and enjoyed. It was one of the most impactful experiences I had in school, just being a part of a team and working physically and having that involvement in the school. And I was the captain of the team in my senior year. I find that most of my work with kids and students is enjoyable because they're really open to learning. I think that I've experienced working with kids and maybe not in those moments they've had the aha, but down the road I've heard back from them, or I've received letters or whatnot just here and there about something that impacted them. And I really believe in using the natural environment to empower students, and I think that in wilderness therapy we really work to they become more independent and have greater self-esteem. They will get out of the van and they're so intimidated and fearful and self-conscious and insecure, and it's literally like looking at a different person. They're vibrant, they want to teach, they're very invested in what they're learning. The hard skills that they learn, like how to make fire and just backpacking in general, whatnot, they're really excited about, and so that overall is really neat to see. I've had a pretty long-standing interest in nutrition and food in general. Partly I was lucky to grow up in Vermont, where it's sort of all around you. Last week I was in Montpelier, and there's a farmers market, there was a sustainability fair, and there was a food and wellness fair, literally 5 blocks from one another, all going on the same day, same time. And so it's just there's a plethora of information, and I'm constantly learning what's new, what's out there. I'm really interested in the whole buying local, and in terms of my own health and investment, my mother has definitely been invested in local foods and organic foods since forever. When I was a kid, we complained about it. I thought fruit leather was candy for the first 12 years of my life, and then thought I had been duped. And now I'm so thankful that that's that's the food I was raised on, and I've come back around to appreciate it and I'm invested in that movement, and so I'm excited. I'm really excited. I chose to be the lead counselor at the Kids Culinary of Vermont for several reasons. One, I think that the skills that the students will learn here are going to empower them to be more independent people, to have greater self-esteem, greater self-confidence. I think it's really important for us to understand where our food comes from. I think generally working and being put in an environment like this it's a learning experience in terms of work ethic and like the amount of work it takes to yield a carrot or whatever it might be, you know. And I think sometimes with video games and cell phones and when I talk to the students I've worked with previously just about how little time they spend in the outdoors, I think that it's important to, well, I'm a firm believer and will always support programs that get students outside and learning new things and different things. Like, I think the opportunity for them to go home and then teach their families is extremely empowering. I think some of the most powerful moments for me in my work previously, like in the adventure camp and during wilderness therapy, is those moments where the students are very in touch with like a natural system. It could simply be watching the sunrise or watching the sunset or something, and them coming away and saying, like, I've never done that before, you know, or, you know, I've never built something, or I didn't know that this is how you plant a seed. Like, all these things are really neat, and like I think we can even take them for granted, like when it becomes your lifestyle. And for students, like, they get really excited. And I really like to also see the negative attitude, the kind of like, oh, I have to be here, like this sucks, change to I want to teach this, you know, and I want to be here. And then the best part is when I've seen parents reunite with their student, with their child, and they are super excited to then teach their parents, and then their parents have less of an idea of what's going on. So it's just a really neat dynamic to see that happen as well. I have my experience with just safety and numbers and, you know, other counselors and whatnot is huge at this point. I think I'm a wilderness first responder, so on that side of things, like, I mean, I have the knowledge. That's like a training course that we're required to take. I have first aid, CPR, and safety. Ultimately, in most of the environments, well, in all of the environments you work with children, safety is number one. Like, when all cards are on the table and everything else is going on, that's my main job. You know, the ratios are there so that we can pull students aside and say, like, hey, how are you doing? Like, what's going on here? You know, I see that this is happening, and what can we do? And so we have that. We have the people to do that, and so I think that's one way we can work with special needs.